Hello friends! I think it goes without saying that one of the most important and probably the most complicated problems of modern society is indifference. After all, we only stoop our heads and look away when we pass by a hungry stray dog, an old woman begging for money, or a crying child. We console ourselves with the thoughts that the next person will give them the help they need. And of course, everything will be fine. But unfortunately, friends, it won't be fine until we do something about it. The hero of today's story proves that a little concern and a little help can not only make someone's day better, but change a person's fate. However, first things first. Sarah Robinson was a 40-year-old unemployed American woman, worn down by life. Her 5 children were hungry and didn't even have basic things. That is why the desperate woman headed to Walmart to improve their deplorable situation. However, since she didn't have any money, she decided to steal the things they needed. Of course, the experienced guards identified the thief immediately and called the police, and that's how this story began. It was an ordinary call that looked nothing out of the ordinary. Another attempted shoplifting at a Walmart store, police officer Mark Engrevale from Roland Park thought. However, when he arrived at the scene, his attitude changed. As the officer himself later shared, arriving at the scene of the attempted shoplifting, I saw an exhausted woman. At first, I thought she was just another thief, but when they showed me what the woman was trying to steal, I was a little taken back, to be honest. Many steal expensive things, drinks, and so on, but this thief was trying to get something else. She was trying to steal diapers, wet wipes, and a few pairs of children's shoes, all the things their kids needed, and nothing for herself. Those goods cost a little over $300, and Sarah's eyes were filled with sadness and fear. Of course, it would be easier for me to arrest her and take her to the police station. But on the other hand, who would benefit from that? And what would it change? The children definitely wouldn't get new shoes, and the incident would further aggravate the family's complex situation, the police officer later said. In addition, Mark noticed that the woman was ashamed of what she did. However, he didn't expect to hear what she was going to tell him later. Sarah had actually given all of her money as a security deposit for an apartment a couple of days before. It seemed like a step towards a better life, but there was a dispute with the landlord because of the number of children. As a result, the woman and her kids were simply kicked out of the apartment that they hoped would become their new home. The woman had never stolen before, but things weren't going well for her. She had recently lost her job and hadn't been able to apply for unemployment benefits yet. Many things were lost during the move because they simply had nowhere to put them, and some things were stolen. So she had no choice but to take a desperate step. "I just didn't know what else to do," she then said. "We've been sleeping in our car for 2 days now, and I don't know how long it will be this way," the woman added and began to cry. Mark noticed that 3 out of the 5 kids were barefoot. It was them who needed the shoes. My heart sank. I just imagined what it would be like if my wife, the mother of my 2 children, found herself in a similar situation. Of course, my wife is safe and secure with me, but as you know, awful things happen in life, and Sarah doesn't have any support now. She and the children were left without a penny or a roof over their heads. I knew I had to help her, Mark said later. What happened next surely defied all expectations. The police officer decided not to arrest the woman, but on the contrary, he decided to help her. He simply took $300 out of his wallet and paid the cashier for the stolen goods. He knew what she did was wrong. The store manager could well consider her a criminal. However, at that moment, the policeman didn't see a thief, but a desperate mother with many children. So, do you think that's the end of the story? Of course it's not. What the police officer did next became widely known, and the journalists were tripping over each other to interview him. Mark decided not to stop at buying the necessities for the single mother, but to go further and help her get her life together. The police officer rented a small apartment for the mother and her children for several days, and in the meantime, he started looking for people who could help them out. He shared a post describing the problem, and soon the police station was filled with diapers, children's clothes, and other things that Sarah so desperately needed. However, this still wasn't the end of the story. The incredible story of the kind police officer reached the main office of a national TV channel, and our heroes were invited to the Good Morning America show. After that, the police station where Mark worked was showered with calls and letters offering help. Just imagine, in the very first day, over 500 proposals came from 16 different countries all over the world. A huge number of people were touched by this story and wanted to help. Of course, people offered financial support as well. On the first day, they raised over $7,000. Mark even opened a bank account for Sarah. Thus, the family was able to accept donations from different parts of the world. As the man later said, "I was glad it happened, and that was me who arrived at that call. I sincerely believe that if you want to change the world, you should start with yourself. If every person living on Earth did something good for someone else, people's lives would be much better and easier." Thanks to the kind people, the woman started her life anew. The case against Sarah Robinson was dropped. The store administration withdrew its charges and even gave the mother a small gift. Even despite the fact that she was required to perform community service, which she dutifully did, the day she met Mark was the best day of her life. At least that was what the woman said, teary-eyed. The money raised was enough not only to rent an apartment, but also to buy lots of necessary things. Sarah also received a job offer, and the money was even enough to pay for a nanny. That's how, thanks to the police officer's concern, Sarah and her kids started living a normal life, which they had dreamt of for so long. Sometimes, we think our help isn't needed, or believe there's little we can do. But we forget the most important thing. We're all human beings, and we should help each other, the police officer opened up in one of the interviews. That's the whole story, friends. What do you think about the police officer's act? Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.